that media worthy, but the media is here, so we'll certainly try our best to address any issues that come up. But really where we are right now, just I guess as a point of introduction, is this project, which is an application for development of a Walmart store and some other sort of ancillary retail spaces in the Midtown area. Has been under review for certainly upward of a year, but probably closer to what, 18 months?
Yeah, something like that.
Rough estimates. So about 18 months, there have been numerous iterations, countless as far as I'm concerned, but I'm sure there are certainly a number upwards of 5, 6, 7, and then variations thereof. And as I presented the other day in the public meeting we held, we think, we the Planning and Zoning Department think, that this proposal is ready to be approved. We think that the project as presented, with possibly some modifications, complies with the architectural and design guidelines of the district. It conforms to the massing requirements, to the use requirements, certainly all zoning requirements as pertains to parking, loading, etc. And we are very close to issuing the final decision for the Class 2 special permit that they have requested. Now, as I explained again in the public meeting, the final decision can be issued for the plans as presented, can be issued with conditions, or potentially the final decision could be a final decision of denial. Nevertheless, again, whatever presented is that we are leaning towards a final decision of approval or approval with conditions at this point in time. And with that said, I'm happy to cover any aspects that you want to cover more in detail.
Absolutely. I appreciate this meeting, Mr. Garcia.
Pleasure.
It's been our finding that there's numerous variances contained within these plans. And I think the best way to walk through these variances is to take out the plans and just flow through from the first floor up to the third floor and to examine the elevations quickly. Because there are missing setbacks. There are missing setbacks on actually 3 of the 4 sides of the plan. One of them is required because of the uses that they've set aside for the second and third level. One of them is simply required by the design guidelines. We were here 9 months ago debating a series of amendments that was presented to the Planning and Zoning Board. That series of amendments to Midtown's guidelines failed. This plan contains all of the features which were proposed to be amended last July.
Let me ask you a question because I'm not sure I'm following that end of things. The one amendment, I'm thinking not to see my recollection is good, but
I've got the amendment right here.
Perfect.
So,
let's look at it.
So the amendment read, typical design and illustration shown for this roadway may be modified with the approval of the planning director in conjunction with the issuance of a Class 2 permit, affecting the height, bulk, location, exterior configuration of any existing building or the construction of any new building. That was the proposed amendment. In other words, it may be modified by the planning director, but the code is different. The existing code, which was not modified, says, streetscape. For all streets, the ground floor of buildings shall be set back from the property line where necessary to provide a minimum sidewalk 10 feet from the face of the building to the curb line. It continues, the setback area shall be improved to meet the adopted design standards of the SD 27 zoning district for the adjacent public sidewalk, including certain treatments. Now, an examination of these design standards compared with, we could take any page of the second floor circulation. This looks like the second floor. Clearly shows that within the design standards, there should be a 10-foot setback affecting the entire second and third floor of this property. And it is missing from these plans. All right? Now, furthermore, The design standard affects the 10 feet from the building line to the street line. And there are only 10 feet provided here. Okay, their plan calls to rip out 24 of 41 trees on the property and make this 500-foot stretch covered by 16 trees. But this plan does not match what's in here. This is the city code. This is the design guideline that was debated in the PZAB. And when you look at the plan for the street,
something playing on your phone.
there's a Google Hangout in progress. Huffington Post is carrying it.
Oh, well, that's certainly welcome news, but I certainly would have appreciated it very much if that had been disclosed beforehand.
I understand it is a public meeting, though you're a public official. There's a 14th Amendment right to film interactions with public officials. It's very well established. The Obama administration actually did put out a communique from the Justice Department last year about this. So
Well,
anyhow,
I would like to make a statement, however, just for everyone to know, and I think I advised all of you about this previously. This is a meeting that did not have to happen. This is a meeting that we, in good faith, scheduled specifically for purposes of answering some questions that Mr. Ehrlich and Mr. Stern had of us that were of a more technical nature. We were subsequently advised that Mr. Raven from the Miami Herald might be in attendance, to which we said certainly by all means. And only today, approximately 15 to 20 minutes prior to the meeting, did we learn that you would be coming along. And you, I believe you were with CBS, is that correct?
I'm with 10, that's CBS over there.
CBS and Channel 10?
Yes.
Which is?
ABC.
ABC.
at any rate,
And
you knew
no,
that I would be filming.
if I may. And now, as the meeting is in progress, we learned that there is someone else and that we are being presumably broadcast live. We might as well know it all right now.
It's all public record anyway.
Fantastic.
And the open letters that I've sent as well.
Absolutely. I'm
So-
going to tell you that I take exception to the fact that what was actually set up and scheduled in good faith to address.
Sir,
some
I'm just
particular-
addressing the design issues. That's all. So let's continue
I'm
to
going
address
say
these
one more
design.
time. You will allow me to speak occasionally,
Absolutely.
will you not?
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you, I appreciate that very much. I take exception to the fact that a meeting that was scheduled in good faith with two private citizens to go over some technical issues has turned into a media production. We have in the city of Miami guidelines to host these kinds of meetings, which I am right now technically in violation of. Nevertheless, we'll proceed and I'll certainly try to accommodate any questions.
Your accommodation is very much
Very
appreciated,
well.
and I understand that it's exceptional, because this is to review the work of your reviewers. You're the planning director. We know that you're not reviewing these plans personally every day. We understand that people like Carmen Sanchez review these plans and are incorrectly interpreting these diagrams and then advising you poorly. And that's a big problem in this city. If we have city staffers that are unable to understand the code, they should be fired. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being blunt, but that is my personal opinion as a citizen, as a
I
taxpayer.
respect your personal opinion.
So anyhow, back to the Walmart plan. If you notice, there is bulb outs, off-street parking, all this in the 10 feet between the setback and the street. And if you look at this cutout, which by the way is incomplete, but if you look at this incomplete technical drawing, it shows clearly that there's no intent for bulb outs, there's simply curb cuts and 3 lanes of travel. And it's, turn the plan this way, it's easier to see the top elevation in the section of the code, or the plan, and the design standard. It simply doesn't match. This is not the intent of the Midtown, standards. This project needs to be declined for requiring a variance. Now, am I saying that, we cannot ever have a Walmart in Midtown? In my heart, I would love to say that. That would be possible, but it's not. If they abide by all the rules, there's no public meetings required, and you very well know that. They could make a perfect submission, and if it's right, we'll have to sit here and have this conversation when you're actually giving them a legitimate approval. But in my opinion, and through my research, changing the streetscape, changing the setbacks on the second levels, making 12-foot clearance against the code of this district to create a miniature loading dock that may or may not be used. This is something that would require a variance, very clearly. Black and white. There's no gray, there's no design standard or photograph for that. It's simply black and white. I mean, the UDRB, if you reviewed the meetings, the Urban Design Review Board.
Urban Development Review Board, right?
Yes. They clearly stated that they did not trust the applicant with an approval with conditions that they felt would not be met. And furthermore, they found that the applicant was using administrative devices to attempt to change their plan to comply. For example, with the width of the opening for their 4-unit loading bay. A waiver will not protect public safety in this instance. You'll have a street that's wide open to cars. No pedestrian protection as required in this diagram. No side setbacks. It'll become like an alleyway. I mean, in addition to the fact that you'll have 600 cars parking in this garage, 1,200 cars parking in this garage, 5 loading zones against code. Code clearly says the requirements for projects under 250,000 feet. Requirements, not suggestions, not minimums or maximums, but actual requirements are 3 loading bays. Walmart came to us once through the person of DDR, Mr. Chris Erb, met with a few of us from the neighborhood over a year ago before the Planning and Zoning Board meeting. He told us that, and Javier Fernandez as well from DDR, their council, they told us very specifically 3 to 5 trucks a day. That is what was going to move through this loading dock, and they confirmed it at a public meeting which you conducted at the Roberto Clemente Park last July. They confirmed it in a public meeting at which you were present. This plan calls for 5 loading zones on 2 different levels. Clearly, 5 is greater than 3. And if the requirements for the district are 3, they should not be given 5. Nor, according to their previous statements, do they need 5. Okay? I mean, there are numerous other problems, such as the use. And the liner use issue is something that will never go away, obviously. We can sit here from this office, look out the window, and see what everybody else has had to do as a liner use. Okay? But as I understand it, it's been codified in Miami 21 that these liner uses must be active. They must contain something that is open to the public from the street, according to the district code. And this project...
Grant, let's perhaps
yes.
Francisco talk about the liner uses on the second floor.
Well, I'm getting to that. I wanted, there was a motion by the UDRB to obtain clarification from your office in conjunction with city staff about the definition of what is a liner use. Has that been acted on?
I'm not sure. To be perfectly honest with you, although, again, I respectfully, and I think you have found in the past throughout this process that we have been, I personally, and we, the Planning and Zoning Department, have tried to the best of our ability to respond to any and all questions that have been sent to us. Unfortunately, the meeting I was planning to attend today was a meeting to receive additional feedback. We received much. We can always receive more. And my commitment to you has been and continues to be that we will certainly take any and all comments made into consideration, and that those shall be reflected in the final decision, which, by the way, I should add quickly, can be appealed to the Planning and Zoning Appeals Board and subsequently to the City Commission. So I understand that this is but one step in an otherwise public process. So what I think the most useful thing I can do at this point in time, given that you have much to say, is to receive, and I certainly will receive it very well, at each and every point that you make, and perhaps, let me ask you quickly, you've submitted in previous occasions many of these comments in writing. Are you adding to that record?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So to the extent that you are adding to that record, I think what may be of use to us, certainly of help to us, is to receive those concerns in writing as well. And what we will do